Slatty, West, going. Hey man, we got evil mom drowns daughter to escape police. Oh, we get in there, bit. Make sure you subscribe right now. I ain't gonna do too much talking. Let's just get into it. And
Jackson 911, what's the location of your emergency? Hi, I would like to report a kidnapping.
It's just after 7:30 p.m. on the night of March 31st, 2022, and a handful of Jacksonville sheriff's officers are standing in a black pond off of Interstate 95, feeling through the dark water with their hands.
News4Jax obtained this body cam video of JSO's desperate search for survivors after a car fleeing officers plunged into the Southside retention pond almost a year ago.
Somewhere under that surface is a car, and inside of that car is a 5-year-old girl named Vanity.
Somebody pull me in! Hey, hold on!
In the meantime, multiple officers searched the water for the missing child. They weren't able to get to the car.
He said you couldn't even touch it with your feet. It's gotta be 8 feet deep.
But to understand how she ended up in 8 feet of water off of a freeway ramp, you have to go back about 30 miles and about 30 minutes earlier.
The driver led police on a 30-mile chase from the north side to I-95 before it ended in that retention pond near the State Road 9B exit.
Vanity lived with her aunt, Whitney Bays, who had become her legal guardian in 2020 after the Florida Department of Children and Families determined that Vanity's mother, 32-year-old Pamela Cabrera, was unfit to care for her. Cabrera had a long and documented history of serious mental illness, including schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, and schizoaffective disorder with psychotic features. At one point, a relative had even sought the power of attorney to help make decisions for her. That history was the reason that Vanity had to be cared for by someone else in the first place. But on the morning of March the 31st, 2022, that arrangement fell apart. That day, Cabrera showed up to her sister's home, and according to police records, she came armed with a knife. At some point, Cabrera took Vanity, putting her in the car and driving off. As Bays watched the vehicle disappear down the street, she did the only thing she could, calling 911 to report a kidnapping.
Jackson 911, what's the location of your emergency? Hi, I would like to report a kidnapping.
From there, it became a citywide search. Jacksonville sheriff's officers fanned out across the north side, working off little more than a description of the SUV and the direction it had gone. A 5-year-old had just been taken at knife point from the one home where she was supposed to be safe, and for a stretch of time, police had no eyes on her at all. Then, at the intersection of Biscayne Boulevard and Dunn Avenue, an officer spotted Cabrera's SUV in traffic and approached it, and the moment that Cabrera realized that police were on her, she took off.
As one of the officers was responding, they spotted what looked like a potential suspect and suspect vehicle description, and when the officer got behind that car, it sped off.
And with that, what begun as an approach at a red light became a high-speed pursuit, one that would stretch 30 miles across the city, with a 5-year-old girl strapped in the back of the car the entire way. Soon after spotting the car, the officer called it in over the radio.
About 80 miles an hour. You're coming into zone 3. K9's about 4 cars behind you. She's running dark. It's getting a little harder to see.
And as the pursuit took off, what he described was a driver who had no intention of stopping for anyone. He reported Cabrera blowing through every red light from Biscayne Boulevard all the way to Interstate 95, not slowing down for a single one. Over the radio, he estimated her speed was over 100 miles an hour as she weaved across lanes and nearly clipped other drivers more than once.
In a pursuit on the pavement,
Her speeds are over 100.
police tried to chase down a kidnapped child.
At one point, she pulled onto the inside shoulder of the interstate, using it to pass the semi-trucks that she couldn't get around in the lanes, and a 5-year-old was strapped in the back the entire time. Then, midway through this terrifying pursuit, she threw the same knife she used in the kidnapping onto the roadway as she drove at speed.
They're over 100.
Police tried to chase down a kidnapped child.
The suspect just threw a knife out the window.
The chase fed south onto I-95 and stretched across the city. Dozens of officers now strung out behind the SUV as it pushed over the Fuller Warren Bridge near downtown, and the longer the chase ran, the harder she was to see, as at this point the daylight was nearly all gone, and the darkness of night was beginning to obscure the road ahead of her. Unfortunately, it all came to an end at the State Road 9B exit near Durbin Creek, roughly 30 miles from where the chase begun. Coming down towards the interchange, Cabrera went for the ramp and missed, driving straight off of it and into the pond below.
It's out the window.
After 30 miles,
Go to the retention pond. Right in the retention pond. Just south to 9B exit. That's where we need rescue.
the search became a water rescue.
We need.
As one officer noted, she didn't even hit the brakes. The car hit the pond, kept going, and slid out into the dark water, beginning to sink almost immediately. The officers who had been right behind her pulled up to the edge within seconds, and with almost no time to think, officers piled out of their cars, throwing down their heavy gear and running into the dark water, desperately searching for survivors.
Northern Tool and Equipment. Get serious.
Traditional Medicare plans don't include dental care. That can mean paying full price for cleanings, fillings, crowns, and more. Dentalplans.com.
She's all the way out there. Yeah, I think it's in there. Papa 794.
Officers soon found Cabrera clinging to a tire to stay afloat and brought her to shore. She had gotten out of the sinking car and made no attempt to rescue her daughter, who was still trapped in the front seat. As officers pulled Cabrera out and handcuffed her, she began screaming.
Ready?
And only then it became about vanity. According to police records, the police had requested a dive team immediately after the crash, but it wasn't in the water until more than an hour and a half later.
Officers try to figure out where to look next.
It's all been under about right in the middle of the line. Oh, I think it's right here.
According to police records, the dive team was requested immediately after the crash, but it wasn't in the water until more than an hour and a half later.
But for that stretch of time, all anyone could do was keep searching a pond that they couldn't see into and just wait. When the dive team finally went down and reached the car, they found Vanity inside in the front passenger seat, but tragically, at that point, it was far too late. After Cabrera was pulled from that pond and handcuffed,
Is there a child in the car? Couldn't see the car. Use your spotlights and light this pond up for these officers so we can get them out. You put her in there. Your spotlights and light this pond up so we can get these guys out. Okay. Sit down. Sit down. Get in there.
she was taken to the Duval County Jail, where she was held on bond for over $2 million. She would later be charged with aggravated manslaughter of a child, aggravated felony fleeing or eluding causing death, vehicular homicide, and multiple counts of battery on officers and a paramedic. But due to her long history of mental illness, the same diagnoses that had cost her custody of Vanity in the first place eventually came in handy when a judge initially found her incompetent to stand trial. But later in December, after re-evaluation, she was ruled competent and the case would finally begin moving forward. In January 2024, Cabrera reached a deal with prosecutors. She pled guilty to aggravated manslaughter of a child and aggravated felony fleeing causing a death, and in exchange, the vehicular homicide and battery charges were dropped.
New information tonight about the mother of a 5-year-old girl named Vanity Cabrera. The little girl drowned in a retention pond after she was abducted by her mom, who had been in a mental health facility. Lawyers for Pamela Cabrera this morning entered a guilty plea to the charge of aggravated manslaughter of a child and fleeing from police.
I ain't gonna lie, Shawty ass ain't shit, boy. That bitch ain't nothing, boy. Shawty ain't shit, boy. Fuck that bitch.
That left only the question of how long she would be spending in prison, with the plea carrying a sentencing range of 10 to 30 years. At a sentencing hearing in October 2024, Cabrera actually interrupted the judge and a witness repeatedly and was removed from the courtroom roughly 20 minutes in. On her way out, she was seen waving a note that she wanted handed to the judge.
This is the second time, so now you'll give a chance. It's okay. Take your time. It's not right now.
The following week, her attorney read part of that note aloud. In it, Cabrera expressed remorse, writing that she was still suffering over Vanity's death and that she had stayed on her medication so nothing like this could happen again. Her sister, Whitney Bays, Vanity's legal guardian, also testified, speaking about both her grief and her concern for Pamela's mental health. The defense asked for 10 years, arguing that Cabrera had been in the grip of a severe mental health crisis and had been a victim of Florida's underfunded mental health system, but prosecutors pushed for the maximum, arguing that whatever her illness, Cabrera knew exactly what she was doing, and after deliberation, Cabrera was indeed sentenced to the maximum 30 years in state prison.
The court sees fit that based on the aggravation involved to sentence you to the maximum allowed. We've been adjudicated guilty on counts 1 and 3. We sentenced to 30 years. It's concurrent on both counts. We have credit for 943 days. We'll order reserve restitution in case there is any.
Pamela Cabrera will spend the next 30 years answering for what happened to that night, but sadly, none of it changes the outcome or can bring back the victim. Vanity was only 5 years old, and she was taken away from the one place she was supposed to be safe, driven 30 miles through the dark, and left in a sinking car that the officers trying to save her couldn't even reach in time. Arguably, 30 years isn't nearly enough punishment for just how despicable this child killer really was.
Fuck that bitch. Fuck you talking about, boy. This shit ain't nothing. Fuck that bitch. That bitch ain't nothing, boy. Dumb ass bitch. Stupid ass bitch. Dumb asshole. Hey man, that shit was crazy as hell, man. Anyway, y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah.